Spencer, I know you and Coach Loggins and Coach Beamer talked about limiting turnovers going into this season. When you look back at the film, what are some things that stood out about why those happened, and how are you and the rest of the offense going about correcting some of it?
Yeah, good question. That's definitely a main emphasis for this year is limiting turnovers. I mean, you can't win games with turnovers. So I take total accountability for that. What I see on film is just sometimes me trying to do too much, trusting my arm too much. Just trust the play, trust the offense, and just protect the ball. That's what it comes down to.
Left side, second row.
Beth Hool, Fox Carolina in Greenville. Spencer, Shane talked about that he wants to see you play loose. He wants that confidence, and that's what stood out most to him in those big games that everybody keeps highlighting from the end of last year. I don't think you've ever lacked confidence. So, what does that mean for you, and how do you go about it? At this point, all the experience you have, honing into that freedom that he's talking about.
I think it's just within the offense. I feel like in the beginning to middle of the year, we might have been doing a little too much that we didn't need to be doing. Towards the end, we limited some stuff down. Like I said earlier, some personnel groupings. We had a lot of personnel groupings versus Florida that limited us. I think a lot, but there's no excuses for that. I think we just tightened down the playbook to plays that that play to our strengths, to my strengths and our receiver strengths, O-line strengths, all that. So nothing really changed too much like people think, but the changes definitely helped towards the end of the season.
Front row.
Chris Farble in KCU, 8 FM in Columbia. South Carolina is one of many teams in the SEC that's here with a new offensive coordinator. You got Coach Loggins coming in. I was going to ask, working with him so far, what's been different with the offense this year, and what should Carolina fans expect as far as the offense's identity compared to last year?
Good question. Obviously, he's come in with his new offense. He's been coaching quarterbacks for years in the NFL now, has a lot of experience. So the offense is very quarterback friendly. It plays to our strengths. He knows what our strengths are, which is good. He loves our offense, loves our group, keeps teaching us every single day. Obviously, we're still putting together with camp here in 2 weeks, but we're excited to get in there and just keep improving.
Front row.
Hey, Spencer, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
AP Stedham, AP and Kelly, as we see it, syndicated radio. Spencer, who's a couple of young players that might emerge on the scene, and what are a couple of veterans that you think are ready or on the brim of going to the, taking the next step?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's always hard to tell with the young guys, because we haven't seen them in action yet. But just off my eye, I mean, you guys know about Nick Harbor, big, tall, fast, can do it all, just working on the fundamentals with him. I think Elijah Caldwell, another young receiver that'll help us a lot this year. And there's a handful of a lot of younger guys that'll help. Vet-wise, I feel like Xavier Legette's going to have a standout year. He's had a great offseason. Amarian Brown's had a great offseason, another guy that might have a breakout year. And then I'm hoping, DK has a breakout year at running back and whatever we need him to do.
On the aisle, third row.
Chris Williams, CBS Oklahoma. Spencer, your team, you won't be doing it, but your team is making the trip to Norman in 2024. What would you tell the guys to expect out of the atmosphere at the Palace on the Prairie?
Yeah, it's been a while. Just expect a lot of, a loud stadium, big stadium, a lot of crimson and cream, and it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. I'll be excited to watch.
Front row.
Being in the SEC, you guys faced a lot of good defenses. One of those tough defenses you guys faced last year was Mizzou, and that was a very low-scoring game with Blake Baker and their new defense. I was going to ask, going up against that defense, what challenges did they provide in that game last year?
Missouri brought a lot of different stunts, a lot of different blitzes. I feel like we picked some of it up, but a lot of it, I wasn't seeing fully. Maybe all of us weren't seeing fully, but we just didn't execute at a high level that game. We try to say don't let anybody beat us, and we beat ourselves that game. But credit to their defense, they did a good job that week.
Left side, second row.
Spencer, Mike Uva, Gamecocks Central. I think it's natural when you have a new offensive coordinator, you talk about the growing pains. But for you guys, you go up against a Power 5 team week 1. As a quarterback, what can you do to help ease some of those growing pains, especially knowing that there's going to be a lot of question marks, whether it be at running back, whether it be about the offensive line as well?
I would say number one is protect the ball. That's a big emphasis for me this offseason, and obviously during the season is protecting the ball. Creating explosive plays, understanding what you got to do, helping others understand what they got to do as well, and just becoming closer as a team during the offseason and obviously during camp here in 2 weeks. So I think those few things will help us down the road.
Right side, third row.
Hi, Amy Zimmer, WJCL ABC Savannah. What are your thoughts on the program not playing Georgia, Florida, or Tennessee in 2024?
See, I didn't even know that until you said that. I mean, I guess it's just a conference decision or a school decision. I don't know why, but you know, that's interesting for sure.
Front row.
Spencer, big ball game against North Carolina. Have you met Drake May, been around them a little bit, and what can you tell us about that game against North Carolina? That's a big ball game.
Yeah, I'm excited for the game. I haven't met Drake yet. I mean, he kind of blew up on the scene last year and had a great season. You know, credit to him. I'm excited to get to compete versus them. It'll be a fun game. Hopefully we'll put on a show.
Third row, left side.
Lewis Racer, OU Daily. Spencer, when you look back at your time at Oklahoma, all the ups and downs, just how do you feel like it helped you grow as a quarterback or as a person?
Yeah, good question. You know, being a quarterback, you're going to go through the success, you're going to go through the adversity, and you got to take it all. I think it was great learning experience for me. You know, coming here to South Carolina, it helped me a lot, you know, to be in this position, and I'm just grateful to be here.
Second row.
With your experience now under your belt at South Carolina, obviously you've played at Oklahoma, a great atmosphere and all of that, but what do you take away from that first year from Gamecocks fans, and how excited are you? Is it even more exciting knowing how they support you and what's behind you when you get there at Williams-Brice?
Yeah, you know, like you said, having that year under your belt, getting to experience the fan base, it's different. I mean, the passion they have, the loyalty they have, you run into everybody in public, and just the city of Columbia and everywhere in South Carolina has excitement right now. So, you know, obviously we have appreciation and gratitude towards that, and that's why we work hard every day.
On the aisle, third row.
Phil Kornbluth, Sports Talk Media Network in South Carolina. You've been in the media eye for a long, long time, going back to your high school days and social media savvy and all that kind of stuff. You've been right in the middle of the NIL stuff. So maybe as you prepare to leave college after this season for the NFL, do you think it's time that the colleges adopt an NFL-type model, making the players employees with contracts, and Congress is getting involved in all that? As you've gone through this process, how would you like to see it be worked out in the years to come, knowing pay to play is going to be here to stay?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I'm sure everybody has different opinions on that matter. You know, I've been lucky enough to be in the NIL world and, you know, get to see how it's transforming. And, you know, I think it's good for all players across the country to benefit, you know, from their name, image, and likeness. But, you know, that's a good question, but I truly don't know how it should go.
We have time for two final questions. We'll go right here, then right behind you. Go ahead.
Chris Williams, CBS Oklahoma. Spencer, you've had that rare inside view of Shane Beamer going from an assistant coach to a head coach. How have you seen him just kind of move into that role?
I feel like it's natural. It's in his blood, right? I mean, his dad is an all-time legend, Frank Beamer, who still comes around, which is awesome to see. I feel like he's just a natural. He's a natural leader, great person, great coach. He's just, everything he says and does motivates us as a group, and he's got this program headed in the right direction.
Back row, left side.
Spencer, Shane joked last year when he was here that he would bring you next year. I don't know how many people thought you would be back for a second year in Columbia. Just as you wrestled with the decision, what was it that ultimately led you to realize that coming back for a second year in South Carolina was the right thing to do?
Good question. We definitely weighed all the options, you know, my family and I, and talking to certain people, and obviously that next level, you know, had a real, you know, choice to pick. And, you know, I just waited out. I thought there was more pros were coming back. I graduated in December. I'll get my degree, so that's important to my family and I. And then, you know, I just felt like we left a little on the table, and I feel like that's why, you know, Juice and I and other guys decided to come back to run it back one more time.
Spencer, thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you, guys.